Have you ever wanted to own a dragon? Everyone has wanted to own a dragon. But have you wanted a lazy dragon? Leopard geckos are an interesting exotic pet. From their diets to their enclosures to their behavior, they can live up to 20 years, so you'll be stuck with your Leo for a long time if you give him a happy, healthy life. I have a leopard gecko for 2 years now. I rescued him from a bad home. Leopard geckos are becoming a more common exotic pet, and more people are purchasing them and buying them. First, I will talk about their diets, then their enclosures, and lastly, I will talk about their behavior. The diet of a leopard gecko is complex and simple at the same time. They're insectivores, they only eat insects. So the diet of a leopard gecko, you can feed them mealworms, crickets, and occasionally a Dubai roach. One or two is a treat, or sometimes a hornworm. The key is balancing their diet. If you feed them too much fat, they can get fatty liver disease and get really sick. If there's not enough calcium, protein, and vitamins, they risk getting deficiencies, which can cause really terrible things to happen to their body. The key to getting a leopard gecko to eat is feeding them live insects. They sense the movement, and this is how they find their food. You need to supplement the insects with a calcium powder. Depending on your setup, you'll have to get one with D3 or no D3 to ensure that they get that proper nutrition. Young Leos need to be fed every single day, while adults need to be fed every other day. The diet is important to a happy leopard gecko. However, another key part to a happy leopard gecko is their habitat. In the wild, leopard geckos live in the desert. It's important to keep that same temperature and environment in their tanks. Adults need more room to move. My tank is 24 by 18 by 12, which is very large. You need 2 hides. And a hide is just where they can hide. They can't be seen. It gives them safety. You will need 2. You will need a dry hide and a humid hide. The humid hide helps them when they shed. It helps them shed without pain and very easily. And the dry one is just for their everyday go. You'll need a shallow bowl so they can drink and soak, but not deep enough that they could potentially drown. It's important that they can soak because, again, when they are shedding, they are going to need that help. And a calcium dish is also important. They can eat just the straight calcium powder we talked about earlier when they know that they need it. And for easy waste removal, you can add a dish or area for their bathroom. The temperature is very important. It needs to be 80 degrees Fahrenheit to 91 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, and nothing lower than 70 degrees in the night. If it's too cold, they will not digest their food properly. And under the tank heater and a heat lamp are recommended methods of keeping the tank warm enough. Keep a temperature gauge inside of your tank, so it will take the temperature of the inside air. Now we know how to feed and house our Leos. Let's talk about their behavior. Leos are nocturnal, so they aren't very active during the day. They tend to come out at night, and this is when you should feed them. They're docile creatures, but they don't tend to like being held. They tend to be more of a look-at pet instead of being a very cuddly pet. This is not to say that you won't get to hold them, but you'll have to work very hard to gain their trust so you can hold them. A day or 2 before their shedding, they will not eat. This is because they consume their shed to retain the vitamins and minerals in their skin. They can learn to recognize your voice and come to you for feeding time. This is part of getting them to trust you to hold you. They aren't vocal pets, but they can hiss and squeak to warn you when they aren't happy with what you're doing. Previously, I mentioned adding a dish for them to use the restroom in. This could be considered potty training. They will only use the restroom in one spot. As long as you keep it clean, they will not poop all over their tank. So for making cleanup easy, you can put a little tray and they will just use the restroom on that. A happy Leo will have a big fat tail and good reflexes. Leopard geckos are very interesting exotic pets. Their diets, enclosures, and behaviors are very different from other reptiles. They eat a variety of different insects. They need day temps of 80 degrees to 91 degrees and night temps of 80 to 70 degrees. Keep a wet and dry hide for them. They are lazy nocturnal creatures with docile behavior and the ability to be potty trained. This information is important to owning and caring for a leopard gecko. This is to ensure a happy and healthy life. Take this information and love your reptiles.